Rocky Mountains. The mere mention of the words conjures up images of towering peaks, clear running streams, and golden autumns with the trees in all of their glory. In northern New Mexico and southern Colorado, the Rocky Mountains are all of these things, but there is also something more, for these mountains have a story to tell, a tale that is over 100 years in the making. It is the story of men and machines battling their ways over rugged passes and through deep canyons. This is narrow gauge railroad country. We're about to pay a visit to one of the finest preserved steam railroads in the entire world, the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad. The rails for the Cumbres and Toltec were first laid starting in 1880 and stretched for 64 miles between Antonito, Colorado and Chama, New Mexico. What a 64 miles it is! Every day the trains of the Cumbres and Toltec traverse steep mountain grades, lofty bridges, deep canyons, tunnels, deserts, and sometimes even snow. And the neat thing about this railroad is that the trains are pulled by the very steam locomotives that have worked on this line for decades. So sit back and relax as we experience one of the rides of a lifetime. Morning in Chama, New Mexico finds a number of steam locomotives simmering away, waiting to go to work. Chama is one of the few railroad terminals in North America that is home to a fleet of steam engines. It's hard to find sights and sounds such as these anywhere else. The first train arrived here on December 31st, 1880. At that time, Chama became one of many such railroad towns on the rapidly expanding Denver and Rio Grande Railroad. Founded in 1870 by the Civil War hero General William Jackson Palmer, the Rio Grande was supposed to build a line between Denver and Mexico City, but for a number of reasons got diverted into the mountains of New Mexico and Colorado, never even reaching the Mexican border. General Palmer built the line to be narrow gauge, with 3 feet between the rails instead of the usual standard gauge of 4 feet 8 1/2 inches. In Antonito, one can see a display showing a piece of 3-rail track, which once accommodated trains of both gauges. The Rio Grande had a quite extensive system of narrow gauge trackage, although it began the process of closing the narrow gauge or converting it to standard gauge by